This is CBC Here and Now.
Expediting licensure for nurses.
The College of Registered Nurses and government have amended the registered nurses regulations.
Changes the government says will bring more nurses to this province. Coming up on Here and Now.
Well, you could say it started in 1818 in a lot of ways, but the foundation started in 2011 and have been really plugging away since then.
Growing the OBrien Farm, how the heritage property hopes to inspire farming education right in the center of the city.
Blowing off the mine sites into the communities. So obviously there is a concern there.
Keeping a lid on dusty conditions. We'll take you inside a mine in Labrador West and show you how they're trying to prevent dust from blowing into town. Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. We begin with healthcare. As the province struggles with a shortage of nurses, government is trying to remove hurdles for foreign and Canadian trained nurses who want to come here. Here and Now's Mark Quinn explains.
Newfoundland and Labrador is short hundreds of nurses, but health officials say they're working hard to reverse that. Delegations have been sent to India and Ireland to convince nurses to come here. And the health minister says they've been successful.
The department anticipates 200 to 300 internationally educated nurses from India to begin working in Newfoundland and Labrador later this year.
One of the hurdles for nurses who want to come here is getting a license. It used to take many months for a nurse trained outside of this province to get approval to work in Newfoundland and Labrador. The College of Registered Nurses says that's changed. Now it will be much easier for nurses trained in 7 countries, the US, the UK, India, the Philippines, Australia, New Zealand, and Ireland, to get licensed here.
We aim to significantly expedite processing times and substantially reduce wait times for Canadian nursing applicants, the identified international nursing applicants from one of the 7 countries, and all other international nursing applicants.
The college says that for Canadian applicants, the process of getting a license that used to take up to 6 weeks will now take about 3 days. And for foreign-trained applicants, a process that could take up to a year will now take less than a week. But Powers says speeding up the process and changing requirements won't diminish the quality of nursing care in this province.
Standards of care, which Newfoundland and Labradorians depend on, remain unchanged.
There are currently about 6,500 nurses working in Newfoundland and Labrador. There are about 500 vacancies across the province right now. Some of those vacancies are being filled by agencies and traveling nurses. The government says these changes will likely mean fewer of those agency nurses and traveling nurses and more full-time nurses. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
NAPE workers at Tiffany Village and Kenny's Pond Retirement Home walked off the job during their lunch break to protest. Nursing staff, housekeeping, and kitchen staff say they're voicing their concerns about an increasingly toxic work environment, hostile management, staffing issues, and workloads. The union represents about 250 staff at the 2 retirement homes, and NAPE says some staff have even quit because of the working conditions.
The next step, we may have another meeting as early as this afternoon. I've said I can clear my calendar. The owner said they can do this. So if we can facilitate a meeting as early as this evening again, where workers will actually sit in the room, manage the room, myself and the owner, to facilitate an initial meeting and to send a message to both sides that myself and the owner is going to monitor this process in the coming weeks with a satisfactory resolution for both sides, because both sides got to come to a resolution here.
Water bombers have been sent to Nova Scotia to help our neighbors there as wildfires sweep across much of the country. But one aircraft in the province has been sidelined for nearly 5 years. And as the CBC's Rob Antle reports, there is no firm timeline to get that in-demand firefighting aircraft back in the air.
Dramatic scenes in Nova Scotia. Battling wildfires on the ground and getting help in the air, including water bombers from Newfoundland and Labrador. The province has 4 operational aircraft, as well as one that's not in service. The 5th water bomber has been grounded since 2018, after suffering this damage in an accident. The government planned to sell the damaged plane until worries about climate change and raging wildfires in central Newfoundland last summer made them reconsider to fix it up, a process that's still ongoing.
With respect to the damaged water bomber, there are ongoing discussions with multiple different companies.
No definitive time frame for a decision at this point.
By the end of the year, we should be there in terms of who's going to do this work.
We certainly need the fifth bomber.
PCMHA Pleeman Forsey points to what's happening in places like Nova Scotia and says it's time for action.
We need all water bombers, all the forest fire capacity that we can to be ready for those situations.
The transportation minister says the province is ready with the 4 bombers in service now.
We're in a good position, we feel, as a province, as we were last year, that we can respond to fires and provide the services in this province. Now, keeping in mind, we see what's going on in Nova Scotia. It's very concerning, and all of that is certainly in parcel of our discussions and decision-making process as well.
Rob Antle, CBC News, Mount Pearl.
Well, the province has pulled 1 water bomber back from Nova Scotia. That aircraft is being redirected to Labrador. And the Premier also spoke about that decision earlier today.
I was communicating with Premier Houston last night. Certainly he understands that. There is a fire in Labrador that requires the attention of the water bomber and the hardworking women and men who work in it.
When was it recalled?
Yesterday.
Yeah, so as we head to the weekend, we'll take a look at the fire hazard map. And up across Labrador, as Premier Furey was just mentioning, we do have high and moderate forest fire risk there. So temperatures have been very mild as well up across portions of Labrador. Cooler today, and really much cooler today across the island, where we are seeing that forest fire risk into the low, and some areas are seeing moderate. But take a look at this. 24 degrees colder right now than it was 24 hours ago in Deer Lake. So certainly a big drop in temperatures up across Labrador. Your temperatures are cool today, but not much of a change from yesterday, because you saw that happen late in the day as that cold front had moved through. There it is there. Ridge of high pressure keeping things calm for now. For most of the big land, we are looking at the potential for some flurries moving in. But this ridge of high pressure also means that eventually you are going to see some much nicer weather. Opposite is true here in St. John's. That's a live look at the harbor. You can't see a whole lot. Lots of rain, drizzle, and fog, and that will be the story as we head through the weekend. We'll talk all about that and the temperatures when I come back.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, a woman has died as a result of a single vehicle crash in central Newfoundland. It happened last night on Route 335 near Stephenville, which is an hour north of Gander. The 47-year-old woman was the only occupant in the vehicle. The RCMP says she was not wearing a seatbelt and was thrown from the vehicle. Firefighters across the province are now a little better prepared following an extensive training program in central Newfoundland. About 250 professional and volunteer firefighters took part. Here now's Troy Turner was there.
There were simulated rescues, vehicle extrication, ladder work, and wildfire training. 22 courses are being taught in Gander, Grand Falls, Windsor, and Tizards Harbour this week.
We can only build from here. And and many firefighters that we can get joining fire service in our communities. We have fire halls in each community in this province, just about. So, it's a good way for you to help our community. And I can only see it growing from here.
For some, firefighting is a family affair.
There used to be, I believe, 7 or 8 of my family members joined the department going up through. So that was a big part of it. But and just to help the community, that got me into it, obviously.
There have been many highlights for Daniel Vickers, but one hands-on experience tops the list.
The smokehouse training, actually getting in, doing some live fire training and the different attacks and stuff like that. That was definitely my favorite part of it.
I like to put on my bunker gear and SCBA and go into a smoke-filled environment and feel the heat, be in a smoky environment, going through the tasks at hand.
Brady Schroeder started out as a student 11 years ago. For the past 2 years, he's taken on an instructor's role.
To come out here and do the networking, and we've seen it a lot in this week with some of the smaller departments. You know, you're sharing little small tactics that you use that are not common. You're not going to find that in a book. You're not going to find it in a video. But you're talking about the different stuff that you do and the limitations that we have as a province. So the networking is huge out here.
And for Robert Fowler, there's much more to the job than extinguishing fires.
We need to be well-rounded as firefighters, you know, not only in firefighting, but in other aspects to be able to help our communities, such as times like last year we experienced with the wildfires and whatever, Hurricane Fiona, you know, so some of the courses are meant to be, you know, not just for the fire service, but also for other aspects. Firefighting throughout this province, a career and volunteer, is top-notch, and I'm experiencing that this week.
The training of firefighters throughout the province will not end with this school, of course. Fowler says the province is taking some of the skills it learned during the pandemic and offering virtual and blended training into the future. Troy Turner, CBC News, Gander.
Well, federal and provincial politicians today took aim at Equinor, the oil company behind the Beta Nord project. Earlier this week, it announced a 3-year pause as it tries to make the deepwater oil development profitable. It came right in the middle of the annual energy conference. This province's federal representative and cabinet had some strong words about that timing.
What I don't understand is the timing of this announcement and why it would happen on the day that so many people were congregating and celebrating the amazing work that's happening. In my mind, the timing is nothing short of sadistic. I don't know what they were thinking.
I spoke with Equinor the morning that it happened, about an hour before it became public, and expressed my profound disappointment and did caution them that dropping this in the middle of a Energy NL conference would sour the relationship.
I tell you what, as somebody who has, worked very hard to make sure that that project did get a fair hearing in an environmental assessment process, it is brutally disappointing that they would choose that day to say it.
Well, the company behind a proposed wind to hydrogen project on the West Coast just bought the port of Stephenville. World Energy GH2 says it's part of the company's commitment to send green energy to Germany by 2025. Talks to buy the port have been going on for about a year. World Energy GH2 plans to use wind to make hydrogen, which will then be turned into ammonia and shipped to Europe. The project is yet to receive provincial environmental approval. The company has not disclosed the price it paid for the port. Well, after decades of discussion, the province and the federal government have committed to finishing Team Goju Highway. Today, each government agreed to spend $15 million. Right now, the highway ends at Topsail Road in Mount Pearl, but will be extended to connect with Pitts Memorial Drive and Robert Howlett Drive. This will add another 3 kilometers and take 3 years.
It's less time driving to and from work. It is less time sitting in traffic on Park Avenue. It's more time with your family and your friends.
As the metro region grows, we need to make sure that we're investing in critical pieces of infrastructure like this so that it can continue to grow. We've seen a population increase over the last few years in Newfoundland and Labrador, and it's important that we build that infrastructure to support it.
Well, a school bus operator is suing the province's English School Board over its suspended services. Gladneys Bus Limited has filed a lawsuit asking for damages due to its alleged loss of business and reputation. The company says in court documents that the English School District didn't have any contractual right to suspend services on a whim without any notice. The school board suspended those routes in February, and 20 schools in the St. John's area were affected. CEO Terry Hall said at the time that safety concerns were a factor. Well, crab is creeping up. Starting on Sunday, fishing boats landing these crustaceans will be paid $2.25 per pound. That's a 5-cent increase over the minimum price set in April, which ignited a feud that led to a 6-week delay in the start of the harvest. The increase corresponds to an improvement in the market, which has collapsed following several years of record prices. There's hope these trends will continue. The harvest got got underway 2 weeks after all sides agreed to fish for the previously established price of $2.20. So far, about 11% of the 54,000-ton quota has been landed.
It's a positive sign. We have indications that the market is stabilizing. We're not 100% sure it has completely stabilized, but there's some signs of optimism and ensuring a fishery that promotes and produces a very high quality product is our focus.
Well, today, Memorial University held the last of its convocation ceremonies and handed out another honorary degree. Loideta Cueco started sharing our cultures to help young people find a place of belonging in this province. She talked about the struggles that young racialized people can have fitting in to Newfoundland and Labrador and how it's an important issue to address as the province boosts immigration to deal with a shrinking population.
As the province becomes more culturally diverse, it is important that newcomers and equity-deserving individuals feel that this is also their place and where they belong. Diverse voices need to be heard and included in decision-making processes that affect them. We need to accept and also respect our differences.
Well, there is a cloud that's been hovering over Labrador West this spring. It's not a rain cloud, it's dust from the mine. That dust can cause health problems. Here Now's Daryl Din got inside one mine to take a look at what they're doing to try to solve the problem.
It's an unwelcome visitor every spring. When the wind picks up, so does the dust cloud, with poor visibility and it's harder to breathe for some. Takora Mines knows it's a problem, and I got to see firsthand what they are doing to address the dust.
We have various activities that's started up over the last couple of weeks. Our spigot system, we started started that system last week. This week we've started doing our dust mitigation measures when it comes to hydro seeding. Includes the addition of a tackifier. And we also have 2 water trucks that are out there consistently on any days where the winds are elevated to 20 kilometers or above.
Those winds have pushed dust levels in the area above the safe limits, according to Jordan Brown, the local MHA. He says this has been an issue for decades and is only getting worse.
I came across an article from 1971 talking about the persistent dust in the community. So this is not a new problem. This is something that we've been dealing with for a long time. And I think it's time for everybody, government, the miners, the community, everyone to actually, knuckle down and actually start dealing with the actual systemic issue of dust in the summertime up here.
The mines have an annual plan to deal with the dust. Putting down grass seeds is usually planned for around July 1st. But this year's earlier warmer weather has forced them to speed up their plans.
If you look around right now, the supplies are arriving. So we're starting about a month earlier than we normally would. Normally we would do this the end of June or the 1st July. But this has been an exceptional year. And we know we got to get moving pretty fast. And so we've got things in place, and actually work has started and will continue on for the rest of the summer.
Brown is concerned with the mixed messages about the safety of the dust.
But, some of it that has been blowing over to communities are blowing right out of the mine site. And so that is, concerning because, when those employees are actually on that site, guess what? They got to wear dust masks. And it's blowing off the mine sites into the communities. So obviously there is a concern there. So if you're on site, you have to wear a mask. But when you're home and it's blowing over you, you don't have to wear a mask. Things are not really adding up there.
Takora disagrees with Brown's interpretation of the dust samples, saying their levels are all below required government standards. The Iron Ore Company of Canada says it has similar plans to combat the dust from its operations. They're using water trucks, vegetation, is trying out some new ways to combat the problem, and installing more air quality monitoring stations. Daryl Din, CBC News, Labrador City.
Well, changes are coming to license plates in this province. As of June 15th, you'll no longer need to add a sticker when you renew your registration. The province says it's no longer necessary because the RNC and our CMP can look up the status of the registration. Other provinces like Ontario, BC, Quebec, and Alberta have already stopped using stickers. Well, the folks behind the OBrien Farm Foundation in St. John's held their official opening ceremony today. The hope is the new learning center will become a community hub and teach people about farming. That space will open later this summer. Our cameras were there for the event.
So today's our big ribbon cutting. We're able to open up our new learning center, which is 2 new buildings here on our campus. We have an interpretation center and our kitchen barn.
And a day like today is testament to just how hard it is to grow something in our beautiful province, especially in a place where the soil is as deep and fertile as the stuff in a cat's litter box.
Well, you could say it started in 1818 in a lot of ways, but the foundation started in 2011 and have been really plugging away since then.
Years of visioning and planning and unanticipated delays because of COVID. But today we are here. We are officially opening the 2 new farm learning buildings.
Oh, it's such a wonderful feeling. I mean, there's been so much work put in by so many different people, both folks that, are donating large sums of money, government officials that are really pushing hard to get us open, but also a lot of the people on the ground that are here, anything from my interns that are here, through the summer, plugging away, some of the folks that we have coming through the ANC that help us just, keep the grass down and the fields tilled and things like that. So it's really refreshing feeling.
Well, the Churchill Park Festival has announced this year's summer lineup for 2 major music concerts in August. The Lumineers will headline a show in St. John's on August 12th, and Alanis Morissette will headline a concert the following Friday. Tickets go on sale tomorrow.
Hopefully summer arrives before then, because it's certainly not looking like we'll see even spring-like weather for parts of the province. However, lots of sunshine up across Labrador. We'll talk about that when I come back.
This weather update is brought to you by the Healthcare Foundation Home Lottery. The absolute final deadline is midnight tonight. Order tickets now at hcfhomelottery.ca.
Well, the battle to control multiple wildfires in Nova Scotia rages on. Resources from as far away as Costa Rica are being pulled in to help.
Shelburne County remains at the top priority as that fire has grown yet again. It's the largest fire in the province history, forcing nearly half of the county, 75,000 people from their homes.
Wow. Crews on the front lines of the Tantalin wildfire got a special visit today, though, when 2 therapy dogs from Halifax stopped by the command center.
I love when Bishop shows up. Sometimes comes into headquarters, and it's an instant stress relief.
Not everybody can be home right now with their pets, and I know a lot of people are missing that. So hopefully we can provide a bit of comfort here today.
Yeah, that's Bishop and his furry colleague Siren. The Bernese Mountain Dogs have special training to provide comfort in stressful situations. They've been desensitized to sirens and other loud noises. Such precious little creatures.
Yeah. They really are, yeah.
So Ashley,
little, not little.
Yeah, that's right, big, quite large. So you've been keeping a pretty close eye on the weather all week in Nova Scotia. Everyone wants to know if any relief will be coming for the firefighters and the people there. What's the latest on that now?
Yeah, it looks like that cold front that has been, cooling things down for us is also bringing some showers to parts of Nova Scotia, which is very much needed for sure. But here we're going to see those showers as well. In fact, quite a bit of it as we head through the weekend, which is not great because it's the weekend and obviously the first weekend of June. But let's take a look at where we sat today. So temperatures a lot cooler across the province. 24 degrees cooler in Deer Lake today, only reaching a high near 9. Similar temperatures, I should say, along the northeast coast, even 3 degrees, St. Anthony, Twillingate. The warmest temperature was in Marystown at 20 degrees today. And as we head through the weekend, it's pretty much a whole lot of the same. We've got a ridge of high pressure to the north at the moment, and this front essentially stalls, which means we're going to see some more showers, and they're not in a hurry to move out of here, which is great news for Nova Scotia, but not so great for the island as far as the amount go, and the temperatures as well. We've been seeing lovely summer-like temperatures, but that has definitely changed. You can see still seeing some of that warmth, although as soon as that front goes through, things will cool down. And then for the island, at least closer to home here in St. John's, we are seeing very little visibility at the moment. As you can see, down to 0.4 kilometers, so lots of fog, and even in Gander down to 0.8 kilometers. Now, as we head through tonight and into tomorrow, you can pretty much expect that rain, drizzle, and fog to continue. Dense fog likely, and then as we get into the afternoon hours on Saturday, that should retreat to the coast and stay there as we head through to Sunday morning, it looks like at this point. So we'll see that creep back in, though, especially towards coastal areas of Labrador and the Northern Peninsula as we get into Sunday morning, it looks like. So right now we've got lots of showers on the go, some heavier showers embedded there along the TCH for the west coast and through the interior there. That is going to continue for the most part as we head through the night tonight. Now, it does look like some pink is showing up here. That is likely some wet snow in the higher elevations because temperatures are much too warm to see that at the moment. So as we head through the night tonight, Future Tracker doing a pretty good job showing us where those showers are and where they will continue through tonight. You may even see a few flurries. Wouldn't be surprised as temperatures drop overnight tonight, or even some freezing drizzle in those higher elevations. Otherwise, just showers, the story clearing across Labrador into the early morning hours tomorrow, and temperatures will generally be a little bit above zero across the island, hovering near or below for Labrador, hence that potential for some flurries in the mix. Not overly windy, but you still see those winds out of the north, generally around 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. So as we head through tomorrow, watch this. Nothing really happens as far as movement. Still looking at the chance of rain. Higher elevations may see some mixing just in the morning, really, because temperatures will be quite mild, relatively speaking, tomorrow afternoon. And then we'll see those showers creeping further east. Now, in onshore flow, we're still going to see that rain, drizzle, and fog. But like I said, things clearing out across Labrador. A pretty lovely day for you. But as far as rainfall amounts go, there's still a pocket where we could see 20 to 30 millimeters, maybe even a little higher than that. 30 to 40 millimeters is possible through parts of the interior there, and that'll take us through to Sunday. Here's your temperatures tomorrow. Single digits, 2 to 5, 6, 7 degrees. Warmest temperatures again will be on the Burin Peninsula, about 16 in Marystown tomorrow, but you're still looking at the chance of a few showers, that's for sure. And then for Labrador, lovely day in Lab City, 16 degrees and lots of sunshine, but hanging on to those cooler temperatures as you head towards the coast. Now, as we head towards the end of the weekend, ridge of high pressure taking place. That's going to allow some of that warmth to head towards the coast. We'll talk about that when I come back.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, if you're looking for some indoor activities this weekend, the Bay Wheels Car Show is happening this weekend at the Bay Roberts Arena. We met up with some enthusiasts who helped put that show together.
Vehicles of all types and descriptions, new and old, bikes, fire trucks, jeeps. The Bay Wheels Car Show started back in 1988, our first car show, and sponsored by the Orange Lodge in Cubits. We did it as a fundraiser and to raise money to donate to charity and of course help keep our lodge going as well, right?
Cubits Gang, we call it the Cubits Gang. We get together every summer just about, and we go on a trip to, could be Twillingate, it could be Fogo Island, and every year we have an annual get together, which is what we call the boil up. The gang gets together for a boil up in the woods, and it's really a great time.
Growing up, our family was always involved in businesses with trucks and everything else, and I always had an interest and a desire to be in a vehicle.
I think it's mostly, in my case, it's mostly for the memories, you know, and you meet so many people with like interests, and over the last 40 or 50 years we've made so many friends that it's hard to believe, right? And you just keep seeing people at different shows and everything, and you meet new people as well as your old friends, and so it's a great get together and it's a great way to share memories.
Buying a salmon angling license is an act of optimism, and there are many optimistic anglers who are getting their licenses this week. Salmon season has started.
Once you hook up for the first time, it gets the adrenaline going.
Hey. A story coming up.
The easternmost point in North America now has a cafe. Parks Canada opened the space this week as more tourists are pouring into Cape Spear. As CBC intern Arlette Lazarenko tells us, the cafe has a strong connection to the past.
For generations, this is where the Cantwell family ate their meals and worked. They were the lightkeepers at Cape Spear for 150 years. But now, in the same house, tourists can get their meals. Parks Canada and Postmaster's Bakery have teamed up to create a cozy shelter for people looking to escape the strong winds.
It's really important for us to stay local, to highlight other local businesses, to partner with them, and it was important for us to highlight local flavors, local tastes, berries, fish, that kind of thing.
You'll find traditional Newfoundland fish cakes, seafood chowder, and several lighthouse-themed sandwiches. When the weather is nice, you'll even be able to grab a basket and picnic on the scenic cliffs around the lighthouse. The launch comes as tourist season ramps up at Cape Spear. Inside, next to the pastries, there are maps, pictures, a historic timeline, and models of the previous lightkeeper's house, all in the hope of enhancing the tourist experience of the site.
It's also a nice connection actually to the Cantwell family because they actually lived in this building. And so the fact that their family were born, they were raised here, and they lived and they worked and they played in this area was really, really important to us as well. The cafe itself gives an interpretation of the site as well, so people can learn while they sit down and eat. They may not even know they're learning something, but they'll learn when they come here and sit down.
It will be open 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. all the way till October. Arlette Lazarenko, CBC News, Cape Spear.
Salmon angling season open this week. A lot of excitement for the thousands of anglers here in the province, as well as anglers who live in other places. Going to talk about that right here at the Atlantic Outfitting on Water Street. So Tyrone, what's the first week been like as far as licenses and the buzz?
It's been an incredible start to the season. A lot of excitement. I've seen a lot of new anglers, a lot of kids, ladies. Licenses have been flying out of the store, and there seems to be a lot of excitement with the number of fish that have already been hooked.
I noticed on social media you've already got some evidence of success. What's the level of excitement of people coming in? Because it always seems to be, salmon season's finally here.
Those posts on social media, lucky anglers posting pictures, West Coast, East Coast, there seems to be a few fish in most of the rivers, in those early rivers that we know of, and it really stirs up people to get going, for sure.
One of the things, of course, anglers always keep an eye on is the level of rain, how deep the water is. Is it just me, or the conditions seem a little more favorable this year?
Conditions seem to be good. Water is a little bit low with some snowpack issues, but for early season, great levels. There are some concerns about later in the summer if we don't get consistent rain, but right now things seem to be really good.
Now, people always make, people could fish all season, but some people always make at least some time for one special trip. A lot of people thinking of Labrador this year?
It has to be the most talked about thing in the store. I would say 8 out of 10 anglers who are in the store are mentioning Southern Labrador as a destination this summer, and there's just something about the big land, for sure.
Is it Pinware in particular, or all the major salmon rivers?
There seems to be a real buzz about the Pinware. There's been a lot of social media coverage on the Pinware and some new fly fisher videos, and there's some great fishing anecdotes coming out of Southern Labrador the last few years, so there's definitely a buzz about the Pinware.
Okay, I know some of the guys here in the store, they've already wet a line not too far from St. John's Salmon. I'll talk to them. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So early in the season, these three guys were actually fishing Salmon River last night. What was it like?
It was what you'd expect for June 1st. Not a whole lot of action, but it was great to be out there.
All right. Did you see any fish at all?
There was a few rising. Pleasant surprise to have a few lazy rises for this time of year, but there was definitely a few there.
All right. How did you do?
Just a couple fish on the go, no hookups, of course, but not that lucky. But it's nice to see some fish in the river and just get out and have a good time.
Now, Salmon River is very popular for people in and around St. John's because it's not a long drive. How did you do? Is this one of your favorite local rivers?
It's not one of my favorite. I normally like to stick to some of the catch and release rivers, like North Arm is probably my favorite on the Avalon. It's nice and close, and it produces fish throughout the summer, and you can always have the opportunity to catch something a little larger. But Salmon River is a go-to as it is closer to home.
A lot of people sort of watching us, they see people whipping the water. They like trouting, and they go, look, I don't want to stand in a river all day. What is it about salmon angling in particular that just gets into people's blood?
I think it all starts with the hookup. Like the first hook, it don't even matter if you land the fish. It's just it starts with the rods, and then you go straight. And once you hook up for the first time, it gets the adrenaline going, and it really gets people's blood pumping and makes you just want more.
You remember the first salmon you managed to hook or catch, assuming that he actually has done that?
I have. It was a little while ago. First fish I ever hooked was on Colonette. Just me and my dad, of course, spending family time together. I was too young to really remember it, but there's a couple pictures kicking around on Facebook, I'm sure.
Okay, and you're the veteran of the three, right? So how about you? Do you remember your first fish?
I do. My first fish was out in Gander. I was lucky to be around a lot of great friends at the time, and you never forget your first one. So,
Well, listen, thanks for sharing the early season fishing tales, tight lines, and thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I just wanted to share this photo. The 2nd Chamberlain's Pathfinder unit came by here in our studio earlier today. Thank you so much for visiting and for all your great weather-related questions. We'll be right back.
Well, it's Friday, which means we're just a few minutes away from your birthday and anniversary messages. But first, 87-year-old Leonard Wood of Prince Edward Island got an unforgettable gift this week. All of his life, he's wanted to go on a cruise ship. He watches for them every cruise ship season. Well, his daughter made it happen just in time for his birthday. Leonard spent a day touring an impressive ship that sailed into port. Have a look.
When they first started to come into Charlottetown, that's when I wanted to see it. It's just something beautiful. I've never seen anything like this in my life. This is something I'll remember for a while.
They offered way more than I could have even hoped that they would, and it's amazing for them to do that. So, because it's something that I could never imagine being able to give him. Such an important memory to make with him.
Well, I'll tell you something right now. She is one of the best daughters that a father could have. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here today talking to you. I can't really understand how they could build something so big and beautiful, and yet they got to take it out in the ocean. I say to my daughter, I say, is there a big cruise ship in? Yeah, right there, she said. Can you see it? And of course I'd look, and see it. Want to come right over to it, but I had to wait my chance. Yes, you have to have them beautiful memories, eh? Memories and pictures are fantastic. And, they mean a lot to a person, especially a family. You have to have family. You're making me overwhelmed.
87th birthday.
Wow.
So here you go.
Thank you very much.
That's a reminder.
Oh, man.
And then,
oh, look at
I
that.
hope you like it. Commemorative coins for each class ship that our company has. We have
Happy birthday to you.
I'm going to blow out the candle.
Well, it's Friday, so let's find out who's celebrating. Happy 64th anniversary today to John and Winifred Kennedy of St. John's. Happy 50th anniversary to Arthur and Mary Hunt from Centerville. Wishing Clyde and Dorothy Best of Chamberlain's a happy 67th anniversary. Congratulations to Bob and Emily Bailey of Mount Pearl on their 64th anniversary. Anniversary greetings going out to Judy and Terry Quinton. They're celebrating 50 years of marriage. Wishing Ella and Larry Philpott of Cottlesville a very happy 57th anniversary. Happy 50th anniversary to Wayne and Faye Oates of Massey Drive. Best wishes to Ron and Barb Mercer of Corner Brook. It's their 51st anniversary today. Happy 50th anniversary to Linda and Garfield Green from Corner Brook. Douglas and Olive Toop of Corner Brook are celebrating 62 years of marriage tomorrow. Happy 51st anniversary to Linda and Anthony Decker of Norris Point. Happy anniversary to Dan and Jeanette Miller. Today is their 50th anniversary. Best wishes to Ray and Shirley Hiscock on their 65th anniversary today. Wishing Patrick and Nora Cleary of St. John's a happy 61st anniversary. Happy 50th anniversary to Cecil and Doris Hiscock of 80town. Walt and Lucy Piercy of Heart's Content are also celebrating their 50th anniversary. Congratulations. Happy 53rd anniversary to Yvonne and Arthur Late of Rogers Cove, Gander Bay. Now to some birthdays. Happy 92nd birthday tomorrow to Fred Tulk of Shea Heights. Wishing Kevin Tobin of Patrick's Cove a happy 93rd birthday. Happy 94th birthday to Norma Hobbs in Gander. Happy 90th birthday today to Graham Butt of New Harbor. Best wishes from Joan, his wife of 71 years. Wishing Minnie Piercy of Salmon Cove, now living in North Sydney, a happy 90th birthday. Happy 94th birthday today to Ralph Roberts of Brigus, now in CBS. Wishing George Jarrett a happy 92nd birthday. He's also from Brigus and now lives in St. John's. Happy 94th birthday to Audrey Harris of New Chelsea. Wishing Ina Parrott of St. John's a very happy 97th birthday. Happy 93rd birthday to Winnie Skiffington of Musgrave Town. And happy birthday to Anne Penny of St. John's, who turns 95 tomorrow. Another fine crowd. Congratulations once again. I just love those side-by-side photos.
They're so great.
The anniversary photos, then and now. They're so nice.
It is.
Yeah. Okay, so we're looking ahead. Long-range forecast. Any changes, or are we just kind of settled into this pattern that we're in for the long haul?
That's a good word. Yes, we are settled in. At least for the first week of January. January, basically. Yeah, it's going to be a bit wet, especially for parts of the island. Let's take a look at what's going on as we head into Saturday evening into Sunday. So the showers will work their way a little bit further north as we head through to the afternoon hours on Sunday. Now, it does look like things will still stay cloudy for the most part. Northern Peninsula, the ridge of high pressure may sink a little bit further south and clear you out as we get towards the evening hours. But most of Labrador will actually see a very beautiful day. Northern portions, likely some cloud cover moving back in, but for the most part, a pretty nice day. The RDF will continue for the northeast coast as we see that onshore flow through the day on Sunday. But areas along the west coast and then even parts of the south coast, just the slight chance of some showers as the afternoon and evening rolls through. Temperatures, though, not really recovering much, only 6 to 10 degrees, warmest along the south coast, away from that onshore flow, between 12 and 13 degrees. The most beautiful weather will be from Happy Valley Goose Bay through to Lab City, where your temperatures will be sitting in the 20s. And then recovering for coastal areas of Labrador into the teens as we head through the day on Sunday. Now, along the strait, your temperatures will stay a tad cooler. You should only be hovering around the 5-degree mark. Now, as we look ahead to Monday, ridge of high pressure will stay in place up across Labrador, but things will get a bit unsettled again as our next system moves in. Skies will stay cloudy across the island. Chance of showers will move in. We're still in that onshore flow, which means temperatures will be cool and your clouds will be on the increase up across the Big Land with that chance of showers moving in later on through the overnight. Now temperatures will still stay quite mild, 22 degrees in Happy Valley, Goose Bay. Lab City will hover around 17 degrees, but things will start to cool down for those of you in northern Labrador. The island portion will see temperatures again cooler in that onshore flow, but overall you're looking at temperatures in the teens. Long range forecast, a whole lot of gray skies and a whole lot of rain, especially as we head into midweek next week. 10 to 12 degrees for St. John's and eastern Newfoundland. Similar forecast, but a tad warmer for central and western Newfoundland. And then as we look towards Labrador, lots of sunshine as we get into Tuesday, but rain should move in by Wednesday. Temperature around 10 degrees, overnight lows mid-single digits. And then for western Labrador, Saturday looking absolutely stunning. And then a bit more cloud cover moving in Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. To tell you where there wasn't a whole lot of cloud cover today, and that was in Burgeo. Julie Baggs always sends us these lovely shots of her out on her kayak. This photo, beautiful one. Thank you so much for that. If you have any weather photos that you would like to share with us, send them to my Facebook page, Twitter, but the best place is to email them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
No gray weather there. Looks like a beautiful day.
Joys of offshore flow.
Okay, well that's it for us this evening. Have a great weekend.
Good night.